Now, I've got a couple of applications up here, and if I want to scroll through them, I can just flick from the end on the, now remember my dead pixels. I can just bring my screen, my mouse up to the top of that screen.
Right. Oh, I see it.
And flick between my applications, just like that.
Wow.
Now, if I did have that touch, why don't we switch down to my laptop screen for a second. I'm just going to make, oh, no, we don't even have to do that. Why don't we switch down to the laptop screen here, and we can just start flicking between my applications on the touch screen.
And they're so fast.
I can bring up all of my running applications right there. So let's go back to my start screen and start Internet Explorer. Now, there are two different Internet Explorer 10s on Windows 8. Here's the one, and we're going to go to the best site on the internet, www.garvis.ca. And there's my blog. Coming up, we're on a slow network here. There's my blog. Now, if I were to go onto my desktop, there's another Internet Explorer there. So one is the Windows 8 IE, and one is the desktop IE.
I see.
And both of them are running. Now let's just drag that from here to there because it came up on my larger screen.
Gotcha.
You're going to find that in Windows 8, you're going to spend a lot more time on touch screens than you ever did before. It's really very touch enabled, and the reason for the Metro interface, or the internet interface formerly known as Metro, is because on the touch devices, it's going to be so much easier for people to just, hey, let's go to my Metro, to my start screen,
right, and flick
through it. Now, I've got the keyboard and I've got the mouse, but imagine I'm sitting on my Windows or my Microsoft Surface Slate device, or my HP Slate device, and I'm scrolling through it and I don't have a keyboard. Doesn't matter, it works exactly the same way. So if I were to pick up my tablet, now let's imagine this is a Slate device.
Right.
Now because of this is still a Windows 7 device, so we're going to turn it over.
There we go.
In Windows 8 that will auto-detect.
I see.
And we can just scroll through it, no keyboard, and let's go to the Tower by American Airlines. Whoops, can't use that one.
Yeah, resolution.
We can use any of the applications as that, without the keyboard.
I think the big thing too, I know a lot of people usually complain when they first get too many programs on their machine, they don't know how to find anything. The one thing that I found was awesome was search, especially on this interface. I mean, there's a bunch of icons that we can't even see way off into the distance. You don't even need to scroll through those.
I've put my 5 main Office 2013 apps right here at the top. But imagine I don't want to use OneNote or Excel, I want to use Publisher. Sure. I could just come to the start screen and start typing.
There it is.
And it's right there. Now, maybe it's not Publisher. Maybe I want to change my Smart Screen settings. Now, off the top, it doesn't find anything, but if I switch to the settings context, it's going to be right there. If I switch to Files, it would look for all of the files with that search in there.
That is way faster.
And of course, you're still going to be able to scroll through your apps as it was. Let's see if we can get that Tower app. Now we still can't. All right, so we can't see the air traffic controller for O'Hare International.
That's okay.
Okay, so let's bring my charms back up and go back to Metro. So everything is on screen as it was. But let me ask you a question. How often do you say, oh my God, I've got 14 different applications up and running, and it's just congesting my computer, it's running so much slower?
Oh, all the time, all the time.
Well, the memory management in Windows 8 is revolutionary. If you're in Windows 7 or any legacy operating system, and you've got 14 applications over, and they each need 500 megabytes of RAM, well, you're using 7 gigabytes of RAM right there. And that doesn't include all of the background tasks that we all have.
Right.
Now, in Windows 8, if we have an application that's up and running, but it's not at the forefront, and it's not doing anything, it's going to use a conserved memory space or a conserved memory setting so that it literally puts the applications to sleep.
Okay.
So it's not running, so all of a sudden I can have 400, 500 applications open in 2 gigabytes of RAM, because only the applications that I'm using are going to be taking up memory. How cool is that?
That's really awesome. I noticed that actually. I had my old Windows 7 laptop, put Windows 8, to test on it, and the first thing that I noticed is things were way faster.
Yeah.
Same hardware, nothing had changed, same RAM, and I was putting a lot more on it. So.
I'm going to name drop for a minute. 2 weeks ago, I sat down in Mayor Rob Burton's office. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but our beloved mayor of Oakville is a bit of a geek.
Yeah.
He loves his technology, and he's been building his own computers for as long as any of us have been doing so.
Right.
And we sat down for 3 hours one Friday afternoon and played with Windows 8. And he was looking at it and saying, oh my God, I can install this on my 6, 7, 8-year-old computer, and it's going to work just fine.
Right.
And it does because of that memory management technology. Sure, we're spoiled. I've got 16 gigabytes of RAM in my laptop and 120 gigabytes of RAM in my server, but so many people don't have that, and they're still stuck in 4 gigabytes of RAM.
Right.
Especially if you're on a tablet device where there's just so much space, and if you want it for $500, that's going to be a lot of money to add the RAM. So the memory management is going to be huge for us.
Wow.
Now I'm going to ask you another question. You have users who work at the office and then go on the road.
Right.
Do they all have laptops?
No, some of them don't. Mostly just the salespeople. They're the ones with the laptops.
Exactly.
And everyone else has all their stuff at the office.
So you go to a conference. Now I spend 250 days a year on the road, and I take my laptops with me, and it's not uncommon. You've seen me walk into your user groups with 3, 4, 5 laptops at a time, and a bad back.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to be lugging all of my environment with me. So imagine I can just take a USB key, which is sitting over here, and have my entire Windows environment here. Now this is a USB 3 key. Can you scroll? It actually says Windows to go. And that's because I got this at a Microsoft convention.
Right.
But they're usually going to say Kingston or whoever else. And you've installed Windows 8 on this using Windows to go. And you can boot up into this in your corporate environment.
Sure.
Now, hold on a second.
That's really
I walk into an internet cafe in Buenos Aires.
Right.
I walk into a hotel internet lounge in Czechoslovakia.
Right.
And I need my applications, and I don't have direct access, or I have direct access, but I don't have VPN or remote desktop. I need my environment, and I forgot my laptop. Or worse, oh my God, my laptop was stolen.
Right.
Oh my God, I'm going to die.
Right.
So I've got this USB key.
Wow.
And we're going to boot up into this.
And this is a huge new feature of Windows 8. This has never been done before.
Huge. Now let's reboot our computer, power, restart. By the way, if you watch the timing on this, from the time I press log off to the time it reboots it and logs on for me is going to be ridiculously short. This is the fastest booting operating system that Microsoft has ever released.
Right, right.
Now, we're not going to count the shutting down part, but let's just count from the time we see the HP logo for we started up our computer until our computer is actually up and running, or our Windows is up and running. There's our HP logo. Let's start it. It's at, my watch is at 16 seconds. Now, this is still HP. This hasn't even gotten into the boot process yet.
Right.
Okay,
now
we're
it's
at 28 seconds. We're in the boot process.
And I see the light flashing on your USB key.
The light's flashing on my USB key for no good reason because I forgot to press that proper boot from USB device. So in about 14 seconds, we've got our start screen.
Wow, that is extremely fast.
Yeah. Now, this is, of course, still my corporate desktop. We're going to restart it and boot from the USB key.
Okay. Now, and I can see this, and I can see how this is going to be used in a ton of applications. First of all our customers usually have paid thousands of dollars, let's say for Adobe Photoshop.
Yep.
And a CS5 or a CS6 version, and now they need to go home, or maybe they're not feeling well and they need to leave the office, or they're on leave for some other reason, and now they can take that entire boot up device, they can take all their programs and everything with them, plug them into their old XP machine, and bang, they're up and running with the latest and greatest, and once they unplug, they're back to the way they were, and now they can go back to the office.
You know, while that's huge, and granted, that's huge, let's take it one step further. We're going to boot from the USB hard drive, which is a Kingston DT Ultimate.
Okay.
Now let's just take a look. My watch is at 45 seconds from the time I press go.